free the band, we still get. Hey, chat. What's going on, y'all? It's 3, man. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy, man. It's 3 back in this motherfucking building. DPGMG, 3 to my heart. You feel me? Look, man. Today we gonna be getting the Phillies' deadly gang war, the death of Mr. Disrespectful. R.I.P. YBC Duel. This dropped a week ago. From the time of me recording this, I have no idea when this part 1, or if I do this in one whole set, I have no idea when these are gonna drop though. I'm just gonna let that be known and put that out there right now. At the time of me recording this, it's been a week since Brody has dropped this shit. But shout out Trap Lord Ross, man. Shout out to the whole Trap Lord gang. I watched the whole first 30 minutes of this. Get the little intro out the way, you feel what I'm saying? And we just finna hop straight into, the shit that we, the shit that we care about on this video, you feel what I'm saying? But I watched this first 30 minutes on my own time. It's free to band, we still geek. Shout out to Scott, man. Shout out
to truly understand the rise of Philly drill, we need to go right back to the start. Drill is a subgenre of hip-hop, and the origin of the word hip-hop is unknown, though mentions of it date as far back as 1671 in the satirical play The Rehearsal by George Villiers, 2nd Duke of Buckingham and others. Okay, alright, maybe not that early, but jump forward
a few on this bitch trolling.
Bronx resident DJ
only Buckingham I know is Brandon
Buckingham. One of the earliest hip-hop DJs and artists. Some credit him with officially originating hip-hop music through his 1973 Back to School Jam. In 2007, he campaigned successfully for 1520 Sedgwick Avenue to be officially recognized as hip-hop's birthplace. From there, the hip-hop genre would start gaining momentum, and Philadelphia became one of the first major markets to embrace rap music shortly after it emerged in the 70s. Lady B would actually be the first woman to record a rap record as a solo artist, shattering the glass ceiling before it was even constructed with her song To the Beat Y'all going gold. Lady B is credited as the first Philly artist to put rap on vinyl, and in commemoration in 2022, the city renamed the 5700 block of Windale Avenue in Overbrook Lady B Way. Philadelphia long supported dynamic and ever-evolving local music scenes. Back in 1985, Jesse Weaver Jr. aka Schoolie D released the hit song PSK, What Does It Mean?, introducing gangster rap to the world for the very first time, with lyrics about a Philly street gang named PSK, or the Parkside Killers, inspiring the lyrics and the name of the song. The track has
People always say PSK, what does that mean? P is for how one fly turned to a man. Some shit like that. Y'all know that song hard as shit though. I ain't gonna lie. PSK, what does it mean? That song hard as shit. I listened to that song a couple days ago because I was listening to Biggie Life After Death. Life After Death, I think it was. And y'all know the song Big Interlude, the B.I.G. interlude. B.I.G. women always say, what does that mean? B is for the eyes for the way it goes in and out. Y'all know that, John? The Biggie interlude off Life After Death. I listened to that shit for and I was like, damn, what is this like? Is this a reference to something? Is this like a sample? Did this come from somewhere? And then I looked at it and it said it was sampling this, and I was like, damn, this shit hard. Let me go listen to the original one. This shit was hard. I ain't gonna lie. Schoolie D, PSK would do it. What does it mean? Y'all should go check that out. I definitely recommend that. Y'all should go check that out. I ain't gonna lie. That shit hard.
Hip-hop's first ever lyrics about life as a gangster, as Schoolie D rapped about riding around with guns and pressuring suckers before ops were even
Man, he was talking that shit on this track too. He said, I finally figured out the bitch was a hooker. She asked me for $10. I gave her $10 and the bitch was still asking for more. He was like, I finally figured out the bitch was a whore, gave her $10 and she was asking for more. I'm damn, though. That's how they was getting it back then, bitch. That's how they was getting it all the way back then. They had the bops, the treaches, the whores even back then. For them, damn, this shit ain't right. We've been dealing with this shit. This shit ain't
gangster
right.
rap, it wasn't the city that made it famous. When that song came out, it was the first time that other rappers realized that rap didn't have to be about partying and being happy all the time, according to the memoirs of hip-hop gangster rap legend Ice-T, who himself would embark on a long, illustrious career as one of LA's premier gangster rappers. Gangster rap would become world famous on the West Coast, with LA-based artists like NWA putting street music on the map all over the country, and also fighting with law enforcement who were setting out to ban gangster rap. Ironically, back in Philadelphia, gangster rap would fall by the wayside as squeaky clean commercial rappers emerged from the city. In November 1986, DJ Jazzy Jeff linked with another Philadelphia native, Will the Fresh Prince Smith, releasing their first track, Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble, introducing Smith's clever, pop-friendly rhyme style and providing a glimpse at the talent that would propel Smith to stardom. Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble spent 12 weeks on Billboard's Hot 100 chart, but Will Smith wasn't the only pioneer of positivity in Philly's rap scene. In 1988, some Philadelphia High School for the Creative and Performing Arts students formed a band called Radioactivity that ultimately became Philly's beloved hip-hop band, The Roots. And while The Roots would go down as legends in the rap game, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince would go on to accomplish another rap first by winning the Grammy for Best Performance by a Rap Duo in 1989 for their sophomore project, He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper. But the award wasn't broadcast because apparently the Grammys didn't want to offend mainstream audiences, according to Lady B. Sounds a bit like racism to me, but anyway. The
Damn, I ain't gonna lie, he's a DJ, I'm a rapper. Me and Kelly might gotta flip that for a DPR tape title or something. He the gig, I'm the trapper. Damn, we gotta do that, shorty. Fuck no. I'm adding that, Joe. Hold on. I got a little notepad with all the album ideas, like song titles, album titles. I'm adding that shit, boy. That shit hard. Hold on.
Award for Favorite Rap Artist that year, which was indeed aired on the award show. And Will Smith would truly put Philly on the map when he landed his own sitcom, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and making the song's intro theme where he rapped the iconic bars that would resonate with the drill rappers running the streets of Philly today. Rapping in West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spent most of my days, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and shooting some b-ball outside of the school. When a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood, I got in one little fight, and my mum got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel-Air." Now, unfortunately, many of the people will be discussing this story.
Hey, I ain't gonna do as much pause, and I'm gonna try to let it play. I swear to God, I'm gonna try to let it play. But y'all heard NESG Chaz's version of this? In North Baltimore, born and raised. Wait, Norfolk Colleton, where I spent most of my days chilling on the bus. Nah, hold on. I'm so sorry, y'all. I gotta play that shit. Because that shit is really hard, and I want y'all to like get put on to more Baltimore rap, like, you know what I'm saying? Cause shout out to Philly, bro. That shit right across to you, me. We like interconnected them. So if you fuck with Philly, I mean, I feel like you just fuck with Baltimore too. And we're gonna get back to the video in a second. Cotton, where I spent most of my days.
Chilling out, hooping, playing ball on the block. Riding bikes, shooting dice, hitting call the rocks. We was a couple of goons, we was up to no good. Started slinging out of niggas' neighborhoods. I got in one shootout and my mother just panicked. She like, "You moving with your uncle, are you down the line?" I'm like, "Mom, I'm trying to blick a nigga. I'm trying to zip a nigga, tell a joke and get his ass popped." Will Smith a nigga, fell in little Glocks, but I still Will Smith a nigga. Stomach shot pop, make him shake it like a Philly nigga.
Damn.
Would've hit him from the spine up. Wasn't in the streets, died before he got to sign up. Petty with a pussy, I'm like, "Bitch, make your mind up. You fucking me or not, cause bitch, you holding the line up." Green tips and a blick, I be on my slime shit. But McCain Vaughn while I'm fucking on my slime bitch. Magician with the head in the bed doing mind trick. I don't even walk into the door, I'm like, "Bye, bitch." This is a story all about how I caught him coming out the house, walked the stupid ass down. He was quick though, banging the blick, but I missed though. Brody chased him on feet and I'm screaming like, "Get yo." Then he finally bent the corner.
Then he finally hit the bit of corner. I'm thinking I hit you. Started here, sirens, the whip slow. Then told the driver to get low. Damn, that shit hard though.
The means to go listen to that full track. Uncles in Bel-Air. And had Will Smith remained on the basketball courts of West Philly after getting into that trouble, we could well have seen Hops on the streets of Philly smoking that Will Smith pack. But anyway, as the 90s rolled in, new hip-hop acts would start to emerge out of the Philly rap scene. Corrupt, real name Ricardo Emmanuel Brown, a rapper from Philly, would break into the scene, being one half of the rap duo The Dog Pound, together with Daz Dillinger, a California native. They would be signed to Death Row Records, home to Dr. Dre.
I thought Corrupt was from the West.
The Philly battle rap scene would also emerge soon after this. And these rappers would be grittier than the musicians that had come before them, with rappers tending to battle it out for rap supremacy, like the real-life 8 Mile decades before it happened. In this period, rappers like Cassidy, real name Barry Adrian Reese, would emerge, making a name for himself in his Philadelphia-based rap hip-hop collective, Larceny Family. Then you have Eve, real name Eve Jahan Cooper, who would end Philadelphia's century in 1999, becoming hip-hop's Rookie of the Year. It was also during this period that American record producer Swizz Beatz would discover both Cassidy and Eve, with Eve being signed to and Cassidy being featured on the hip-hop record label Rough Riders, home to one of the biggest artists in the world at the time, DMX. In the turn of the century, other acts like Dwight Iquan Grant, aka Beanie Siegel, and Leslie Edward Bregan, aka Freeway, would be making moves putting Philly hip-hop on the map too. Freeway would be a member of the Philadelphia-based hip-hop collective State Property, which was signed to Jay-Z's Rockefeller Records, an imprint of Def Jam Records, which had also signed Beanie Siegel. 2002 would see Philadelphia lose one of its most prolific rappers and singers after the death of Lisa Nicole Lopez, better known by her stage name Left Eye. Left Eye was a member of the R&B girl group TLC, alongside Tion T-Boz Watkins and Razonda Chili Thomas. But it would be the mid-2000s when the spotlight would start shining on gangster rappers coming out of Philly once again, owing to rap acts like Gilly the Kid, now known as Gilly the King, real name Nasir Fard, who was actually one of the 7 members of 90s underground hip-hop group Major Figures. In 2006, Gilly would be thrown into the national spotlight owing to his beef with Cash Money Records and its star rapper Lil Wayne, when he claimed to have ghost-written for some of the label's artists, particularly Wayne.
Y'all think Gilly really wrote all the Lil Wayne
had never released any songs with the label.
Think Gilly really wrote all the Lil Wayne
about publishing. With the public spotlight on him, Gilly's ties to the streets would soon come to light. In June 2006, he would make a headline after narrowly escaping death, being shot 3 times by his ops. He would sustain 2 gunshot wounds to his arm and leg, getting discharged later the same night. The FBI would now surveil his house, and on February the 8th, 2007,
damn, discharged the same night. It's crazy.
Discovered that Gilly was running 2 drug stash houses where they
Gilly
found
was
89
really
pounds of
living like that,
marijuana and $404,000.
Gilly was really getting like that.
Gilly was able to get back on the straight and narrow path later in life, eventually teaming up with Wallow and creating the blockbuster podcast $1 Million Worth of Game, interviewing the most popping rap stars in the modern era. However, Philly's
not just rap stars,
would still impact Gilly's family, and in a tragic turn of events in 2023, Gilly's 25-year-old son, YNG Cheese, would be gunned down in a triple shooting in Philly. But as Gilly was departing the rap game, it was around this time that a young rapper from Philly named Robert Rameek Williams, aka Meek Mill, would be on a come-up. Raised in the North Philadelphia section of the city with his sister and inspired by his mother and father, who died when he was 5, Meek Mill began taking the rap game seriously at the age of 12 after losing a street battle to neighboring rappers. After taking and accepting the L, he would morph into a hardened battle rapper who became part of the group named the Bloodhounds, which had a short stint between 2006 and 2008, after which Meek would later sign as a solo artist to T.I.'s Grand Hustle Records. 3 years later, in 2011, he would jump ship to Rick Ross's Maybach music group, opening his own record label, Dream Chasers Records, where he signed to his own label that he's still signed to this day, and a name brand that's got mainstream recognition, with numerous hit mixtapes and albums being released under both labels. But despite having gotten in trouble with the law over the years, Meek Mill has never really referenced being in a specific gang in any of his music, and Meek Mill has openly spoken about the negativity that gang life can bring.
Being gangster will get you hurt, put in jail, or killed. Being smart will get you out of poverty and your family and friends living better. It's no comparison. Being smart is the only solid way out of the trenches. Everything else is wide range life risk just to survive.
Towards the late 2000s, Philly's music scene was evolving, with gang...
Some nicer feeling when niggas don't even get the turn. Oh, my heart pump until it turn gold. You niggas stuck in neutral and riding like, fuck it, this is a long road. Damn,
the rap starting to dominate the airwaves. While R&B had been the go-to sound for much of the early 2000s, the streets were starting to tell a different story, and one rapper would soon rise to personify the shift, A.R.Ab. Born Abdul Ibrahim West,
I wrote here in the range
OVH,
paying A.R.Ab. I'm not sure what it was that really
group
made
he
y'all
co-founded
mad.
with fellow Philly rapper Dark Low, A.R.Ab took the grind mentality to the next level. He was an OG in the game, earning his stripes not just through his music, but also as a feared battle rapper, and also having gained a lot of respect in the streets. His skills would eventually land him a spot in Cassidy's Larceny Family, where he would make his mark as one of the toughest lyricists in the group.
I keep me a coke strip popping, a dope strip popping, my 4/5 cocked. I put him to bed if he's short with the profits.
Damn.
Cause I'm trying to get my paper on, in the crib cooking coke with an apron on.
Shout out to Trap Lil Ross. I don't know if you do the subtitles or not, but you slipped up, gangster. There y'all, it hit different. Yo, y'all know this nigga Trap Lil Ross rarely ever really fuck up with the subtitles, so it feel good to call this nigga out. Top tier D1 hater nigga for surely is. He said if you show with the profits in the subtitles, but in reality he rapped if you're short with the profits. Got him. Got him.
a 4/5 captain. I put him to bed if you short with the profits. Cause I'm trying to get my paper on. In the crib cooking coke with an apron on. While y'all was doing kid shit, playing in the schoolyard,
Right.
I was in the crib loading shells in the bulldog.
Right.
I was in the pool hall.
Right.
I was trying to move hard. Then
Right.
a block mine and it jumped like a bullfrog.
Damn.
OBH.
While AR-Ab's career was taking off,
While
his
you
name
was
already
in, what he
circulating-
say? While you was in the pool hall, I was in the bulldog. He said I was in the crib blowing shells in the bulldog.
The pool hall, I was trying to move hard. Then the shells in the bulldog. Kid
run that shit back.
playing in the schoolyard, I was in the crib loading shells in the bulldog. I was
Never
in the
mistake with the
pool hall, I
subtitles.
was trying to move hard. Then a block mine and it jumped like a bullfrog. Oh,
What? Now in the block mining and jump like a bullfrog. Come on, bro. You ain't even try. Come on, young boy. You ain't even try. You you phony as a bitch. I mean, I can't lie. What the Philly niggas be saying? Yo, you frying me, young boy. Nah, you frying me though, for real, gang. I ain't gonna lie. He said, I was trying to move hard and I was trying to move hard and now the block. I was trying to move hard and now the block jumping. What'd he say? Hold on. Run it back. He ain't say mine though.
trying to move hard. Then a block mine and it jumped like a bullfrog.
Oh, I was trying to move hard. Now the block mine and it jumped like a bullfrog. Now the block mines. Like he owned the block. Now the block mine and it jumped like a bullfrog. I don't know what the fuck TLR
While
heard.
AR-Ab's career was taking off, his name was already circulating in the streets. for his
TLR
alleged
got this
involvement in
nigga spitting the
criminal
wackest
activities.
verse.
He wasn't just rapping about
That's
life
what-
on the corner. He was still
TLR
living it.
got
And
this
in April
nigga spit
2013, AR-Ab would tweet about facing consequences from a past crime, revealing that he was caught up in a drug trafficking raid 3 years earlier. Shortly after, he announced his plans to turn
Hey Chad, make sure y'all got y'all Super Bowl reward, y'all. I'm high as a bitch. I'm smacked, man.
Before I turn myself in the jail.
Following the incarceration,
Make sure
the
y'all
free
get high
AR-Ab
as
slogan
me.
became
High as
prominent in
three.
his music
High
videos
as
and
G.
amongst fans. And after serving 18 months, he was released on parole in November 2014, having allegedly reduced his sentence by participating in a boot camp program. However, in October 2018, AR-Ab, along with 8 others, was indicted on drug trafficking charges in North Philadelphia, where he was identified as the leader of the operation. And in November 2019, he was found guilty of conspiracy and drug distribution involving cocaine, crack, heroin, and meth. And on April the 15th, 2021, AR-Ab was sentenced to 45 years in prison. After AR-Ab's legal troubles cast a shadow over Philly's rap scene, a new generation of artists started to take the spotlight. Enter Samir Baisel Woods, better known on
Free
stage as
AR-Ab.
Lil Uzi Vert. A stark contrast to the gritty, street-centric narratives that have defined rappers
Free
like AR-Ab.
AR-Ab.
Uzi, standing at 5'4", with a body covered in tattoos and an enigmatic personality, brought a different kind of energy, a blend of melancholic lyrics and high-fashion flair that resonated with the youth in the city. Lil Uzi Vert broke into the mainstream in 2015 with emotional rhymes that amassed millions of streams on Spotify. His emotional yet energetic style created a whole new creative lane in the hip-hop genre. By June
Oh
2016,
my god, y'all literally had to be there. Y'all literally had to be there when Money Longer dropped. No, nothing can like explain what was the energy and the vibe and the whole feeling of the culture from like now, like speaking now, like looking back on it. We can't retrospectively talk about that shit the same, bro. In the moment when that shit was happening, folks, it was nothing bigger, bro. I ain't gonna lie, it was nothing bigger. This XXL freshman class, bro, looking back on it, like, it's some people here that, you know, ain't even had their biggest moments yet. Well, I feel like, yeah, most of the motherfuckers here ain't had their biggest moments yet, but a lot of them niggas, bro, they had their biggest moments, and their moments was insane when you was there. Like, Money Longer, Lil Uzi, that wasn't his biggest moment. Obviously, like, oh my brother, that that's his, you know what I mean? But before EXO Tour Life and before the new shit he got, the new hits he got, Money Longer, folk, Money Longer, Uzi, different, folk. I probably say, for my experience living in the time, that's the littest little Uzi has ever been to this day, like even still to this day. Not saying the biggest, not like, you know, I think I misspoke earlier saying the biggest moments, like not biggest moments, but the littest, like fresh on the scene. Who the fuck is this nigga? Everybody talking about this nigga. Talks about how he might take the game over, like how he is taking the game over, how he doing this, and he got this record and this on the Billboard for this one off SoundCloud. Like, niggas was dropping on SoundCloud and YouTube, and niggas hitting the Billboard. It hit different, bro. I swear to God, I'm not lying to y'all. It was a crazy time period, bro. 21 Savage, he had the whole, this was like old Savage, huh? This was like, how you got a 12 car garage, you only got 6 cars, something like that. I forgot what he said, but y'all know that 21 John, that shit was a hit. No heart, no love, something like that. No emotion, no feeling, something like that. Y'all know the 21 John I'm talking about. Kodak Black, damn. Kodak was taking the world over. Everybody was talking about his little Lisa from The Simpsons fucking head. Herbo been popping for a minute. Davies was popping for a little minute. Anderson .Paak was popping for a little minute. Designer, but I'm trying to tell y'all, Lil Yachty, Designer, Kodak, and Uzi, and Savage, kind of Savage, but Savage too for the most part, folks. They vibe before this freshman cover hit, and when it hit was crazy. It was nothing bigger. It was nothing bigger than this 2016 freshman class. Like, when we talking about litness scale, like, y'all, like, if you understand what I'm talking about, you get what I'm talking about, bro. They was really on that shit for them.
Uzi had cemented his place in the hip-hop culture, appearing on XXL's 2016 freshman class list alongside big names like 21 Savage, Kodak Black, and Lil Yachty, and his appearance in the Cypher solidified him as a new force in the industry. And while questions about Uzi's possible gang affiliations have swirled over the years, DJ Drama and Don Cannon, Uzi's mentors and the heads of Generation Now, his label, have repeatedly debunked these rumors, emphasizing that Uzi's sole loyalty lies with their label and the music game, and that he's not a street rapper like the gangster rappers. This revelation disrupted the typical narratives around street life and affiliations, marking Uzi as somebody much more connected to music and creativity than the streets, but still being inspired by life in Philly. In a sense, Lil Uzi Vert represents a shift in Philly's hip-hop scene, a brief move away from the hardcore streets-driven stories of battle rappers like A.R.Ab to a more emotionally complex and commercially savvy sound. And his journey highlights
this really is crazy
and artistry.
Because we really did. Shout out to Uzi and shout out to PNB Rock, because we really did go from like gritty ass A.R.Ab, State Property, like Beanie Siegel's A.R.Ab era to Lil Uzi PNB Rock era. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole different Lil Uzi PNB Rock, Pop Hunter. Like, even though they got that boy up out the industry quick as hell, but like Pop Hunter was how everybody was sounding during that time. Like, factual. Like, that's really the style. That was the Philly. Now I ain't gonna say that was the Philly style, but that was a sound coming out of Philly. That was a dominant sound coming out of Philly. You feel what I'm saying?
Public perception often blurs the lines between reality and performance art. But after Lil Uzi Vert's meteoric rise in the mid-2010s, another Philly native began carving his own path in the hip-hop scene, PNB Rock. But unlike Uzi's energetic, genre-blending style, PNB Rock, born Rakim Hashim Allen, would bring a completely different vibe to the table. His music was a reflection of the duality of life in the streets of Philly.
And when I say Uzi, PNB Rock, Pop Hunter style, they don't got similar styles at all. That's a fact. They really don't got similar styles. But when I say that, I mean more the less gritty, bar heavy, more melodic melody, trying to make a fire, not make a fire song, but trying to make a hit, basically. You feel what I'm saying? Like, them niggas was hit shopping. Like, PNB Rock hit shopping. You feel me? You put them on the hook, you got to hit. Uzi, you put them on a song, you got to hit. Like, you know, they know how to make the moments, the shit the bitch is gonna sing, the shit that's gonna get stuck in your head, the smooth melodies that just, you know, the smooth melodies that just get the party jumping, basically. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what I mean when I say that type of style. Whereas, you know, the older like Philly rappers was more like battle rap, getting their bars off. These niggas trying to get a good song off. You feel what I'm saying?
Yo, I turned fleeting joy. His breakout single "Selfish," released in 2016, showcased his ability to merge emotional storytelling with catchy melodies, a sound that caught the attention of mainstream audiences. Originally from Germantown, near Pastorius and Banton streets, from which he gets the P&B moniker from, with there being a gang of the same name in this area. PNB Rock's adolescence was rough. Raised in a Muslim family, his father had been murdered when he was just 3 years old, and so he was raised by his mother. By age 13, he was being sent to juvenile detention centers for committing robberies and fighting in school. By 19, Rock had found himself behind behind bars again, this time serving 33 months for drug charges. But it was during this time in prison that P&B Rock honed his craft, studying how to blend hip-hop and pop to create an original sound that would later define his career. And he quickly made a name for himself after his stint in jail. By the time he dropped the song Selfish, he had solidified his place in the rap music world. Like many rappers from a tough environment, the streets always seemed to follow him, and danger would always be lurking, even far away from the streets of Philly. And on September the 12th, 2022, P&B Rock's life was tragically cut short during a robbery at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles in South Los Angeles. The incident, where P&B Rock was targeted for his jewelry, shocked fans and peers alike. And just days before his death, in an interview with DJ Academics, P&B Rock talked about a close call.
Don't need nobody else. I want you all to myself, I swear.
Me girl, I'm selfish. I don't want nobody else, I swear. I swear.
That he'd had
I want you all to myself, I swear. I'm selfish. That song was a bang. I had to listen to a second of it. I had to get that melody in my ears real quick, just out the memory. You feel me? That boy made me remember. I forgot that was P&B Rock's song. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I ain't heard that joint in so long. I literally forgot that was P&B Rock singing that. Damn, that really is, bro.
Previously with gang members in LA, and he described how he felt unsafe in certain areas and often avoided being outside, knowing that being a successful rapper would make him a target.
Yo, I hear that just walking up to in like broad daylight, like, yo, give me your chain. Like, I'm like, yo,
try me on some. It be like every time.
They try to take your jewelry or some shit?
I don't know, but it be like I be on and I'm not. Where I'm from, we like sneaky criminals. Like in LA, it's like they bold. It's like they want you to know. They want to spark a conversation with you first before they get into some.
Hey, that's facts.
Some of them might just go crazy. Like I know some
that's facts
too. They might not even. They might be on their sneaky too. But the majority of the time,
like,
it was like they just gave a drop up too fast. You feel me? So the second time I got into some shit, like, I was just talking loud as shit, wanting me to hear their conversation. And it's like, I'm with my peoples. Like, I'm with my daughter and my girl. Like, why they talking about this gangster? Like, with this around? Like, we outside, we on Fairfax. I'm like, man, you know, I already peed it.
There's gangsters out there on Fairfax.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what the is going on? Like, I'm Fairfax right now. So I'm like, man, we out of here. You feel me? Like, we going. My girl, like, no, we ain't. What's wrong? I'm like, I'm just going off of the vibes. Like, we out.
Is she peeping the energy? Because I'm
she
you on
peep
point.
it. Yeah, she ain't peeping. She was thinking I'm tripping.
About women sometimes.
She be thinking I'm tripping. So, in the mix of all this, I'm like, no, we out. So she peeped it. I'm serious. She's like, no, we out.
Nah,
drive probably like
sometimes girls really don't be peeping the energy of shit, bro. And that's a fact.
Box in the street, she thinking it's game. She pull over somewhere else. Like, oh, I wanted to go to this store right here. And then in a mix of me, like telling her like where the park at, it's like somebody just came fast and took the parking spot, like the same spot that we. Yeah. I'm like, dude, they must have been following me or something, bro. How did this car get behind me this fast? Like I ain't even look. I look back, and it was there quick as.
But following his murder, 3 suspects were arrested, including a 17-year-old and his father, Freddie Trone, as well as a woman, Chantrell Trone, all linked to the robbery and killing. Later, more individuals were implicated in the case, including Tremont Jones, who was accused of alerting the killers to P&B Rock's location. P&B Rock's story stands as another grim reminder of the dangers that fame can bring, particularly for rappers. And his death parallels fates of those other LA-based rappers like Nipsey Hussle and Draco the Ruler, as well as New York drill rapper Pop Smoke, all of whom fell victim to senseless violence in the gang-dominated streets of Los Angeles. But despite his efforts to steer clear of trouble, P&B Rock, like many before him, found out that the streets have a long reach. While P&B Rock represented a more melodic, emotional side of Philly's hip-hop scene, a newer generation has emerged in his wake, determined to leave their mark on the city too. Another one of the rising names from P&B's block in Germantown is Isaiah Reeves, better known on stage as Hop Out Blick.
Go ahead, introduce yourself to the people who ain't too familiar with you.
You already know it's Hop Out Blick, the Ordo Trick. The real book is this. It's a lot of imposters out here too. They ain't me though.
Repping the same P&B set that P&B Rock hailed from, Hop Out Blick is seen by many as part of the younger generation known as the Torchers, a group carrying the torch of P&B into the future, though with a harder, more drill-orientated sound of music. However, Hop Out Blick's burgeoning rap career has been overshadowed by his involvement in a violent shooting. In April 2024, Reeves was charged with murder in connection with a shooting that left 3 teenagers dead: Mark Ballard, Salah Fleming, and Khalif Fresgi, with another person being seriously wounded. According to the police, the incident stemmed from a gun trafficking deal gone wrong, with Reeves and others attempting to rob the buyers, which quickly escalated into gunfire. Despite the gravity of the charges against him, Hop Out Blick continued to push his music career whilst on the run. With over 20,000 Instagram followers and a strong presence in Philly's drill rap scene, he dropped tracks like Double Coffins, where he and his crew flaunted weapons, allegedly props, in front of the camera. And his boldness extended to interviews too, where he openly discussed his life and music, seemingly unfazed by the fact that he was indeed wanted by the authorities.
Like I said, like I just started popping my shit. Like I just started talking about that shit. Like it be no cap in my rap. Like I like that all entertainment though, you feel me? But that's me though.
Hop Out Blick's rise and
Nigga,
now
what? It be
potential
no
fall
cap
reflects
my
the
rap
darker side of
while
Philly's
you
rap
on the
culture,
run
where
for
fame
it
and
is
street life often intersects with tragic consequences. As the torches continue to emerge out of the next wave of P&B, the story of Hop Out Blick
Big
will play a
torches.
significant
Y'all gotta
role
let me
in
know if y'all
shaping the
want to see me
narrative
react
of
to any
this
songs from
generation,
this
caught
video.
right in between the allure of music and the danger of the streets. But while the story of Hop Out Blick and the torches unfolded, another crew was steadily rising to prominence in
YBC
Philadelphia's volatile
2018.
underground rap scene, the Young Bag Chasers, or YBC. This group, a dangerous collection of rappers from West Philadelphia, had been deeply involved in a gang war, battling at least 6 rival gangs across the city. One of the founders of YBC was one of the earliest rappers from their set, J100, dropping tracks like Turn Up Part 1, a street song with bars all about shooting their ops and running around Philly with guns. But behind all of these gangster rap songs are real stories of the actual deadly gang war playing out in the streets of Philly. Their music, much like their street reputations, were fueled by disses, often calling out fallen rivals in their songs. And it wasn't just music for these guys, it was
Why is YBC so hated? I'm not from Philly, so I came down to my cousins the last weekend since we were off early, and they were telling me how random kids getting beat up for claiming YBC or playing their music at the park, etc. Because they dissing the dead every song. Bro said they done had enough of it. They dissed the dead about every track.
personal, and it earned them a toxic infamy on platforms like Reddit. The streets would buzz with chatter that YBC
basically
had made
they was
enemies
killing shit from every block. Basically they was killing niggas from every block in West Philly and dissing them on songs and getting hella views from it. Then the tables turned and they started getting torched by all them blocks they was dissing. They pretty much started the dissing wave in Philly for real. No one was really saying names before them people would diss. Before them people would diss, but not like them. And they real disrespectful and been terrorizing West Philly for some years now. I ain't gonna lie, yo. I've been slightly tapped into the Philly whole Philly drill movement, folks. Like, it's this channel. He do like Philly drill lyrics that really happened or something like that, and it's a fact. I ain't gonna lie, niggas really was not name dropping before this nigga dude came and started name dropping. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie, they really did turn the wave around because niggas was not name dropping. Niggas was not, they just wasn't. Like, they was sneaky dissing, or not sneaky dissing, but cleverly dissing, like, saying, oh, Lord, what's his name, got hit on the 7, sent to the heaven, like, some shit like that, or like, oh, Lord, what's his name, got caught trying to take out the trash, and then it'd be, a teen shot dead while trying to take out the trash, family member says. You feel what I'm saying? It's like shit that niggas involved would know about, but they wasn't saying names, you feel what I'm saying? But, yeah, this shit ain't subtle, this shit ain't sneak this, and this shit real direct. This ain't indirect in the slightest.
Every block in West Philly, pushing their way to the top by stacking bodies and releasing tracks that celebrated their violent exploits. But as the tables begun to turn, those same blocks that YBC had been taunting came together to take revenge. The narrative would shift, and the once feared YBC at times would start
who the fuck
becoming
is this
hunted.
nigga Wild Refrigerator
so
993?
many neighborhoods, only for those very blocks to unite and start torching them back.
I hate this shit. I really hate this shit. Genuinely, like, getting shit off Reddit. I really genuinely hate this. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, shout out to Reddit though, but I hate getting stories and shit like this on Reddit. Like, I ain't gonna lie, Traveler Ross. I feel like if you can't tap in with somebody close to the situation, bro, why is we sitting here reading Reddit comments on screen? Like, do we really feel like Wild Refrigerator 993 really know about the inner workings of Philly, the Philly war? Or the Philly gang wars? Do y'all think Wild Refrigerator really a member? Really a member? And that nigga really outside with them niggas to be telling us, informing us about shit? That nigga could honestly be talking from the same spot I'm talking from. Never heard of these niggas. Probably heard 2 songs of the war. And he just on his bitch on Reddit talking about some shit. But, you know. That's how it go, I guess. This is new journalistic research, I guess.
To rack up views on their inflammatory rap songs. Despite the online hatred, YBC became a name that rang out across the streets of Philly. But on the opposite side of this conflict was people like Lil Bucks from O to the 4, a prominent figure in Philly's drill rap scene too, who's gone on to have a prolific rap career, as well as rappers whose hard-hitting tracks and unmistakable presence on the mic made him a target of the ops too, as well as fans on Reddit desperately trying to work out his specific gang affiliations. OT7 Quanny is Zoo Gang, a crew with another affiliate.
Niggas said, what gang is OT7 Quanny? Yeah, niggas said MS-13. Folk, I'm crying. Yo, I'm fucking crying. Y'all think that nigga Quadi a motherfucking y'all think that nigga Quadi an essay fuck? I'm crying.
Trying to work out his specific gang affiliations. OT7 Kwani is Zoo Gang, a crew with another affiliated rapper Poundside Pop, known for tracks like Zoo Militant, who apparently famously rejected a record deal from Meek Mill. Kwani, who started gaining traction around 2020 with his crew No Regrets, featuring rappers like NR Bor and Lil Nas. Coming into his own with a series of solo freestyles by late 2021, his style and presence were undeniable, and his collabs with other notable figures, including Skrilla, made him a key player on the field. Skrilla, a more versatile artist who initially avoided gang affiliations, eventually found himself aligned with major figures in the city's rap scene on both sides. But he would initially steer clear of picking sides, his actions would end up speaking louder than his earlier videos. By 2023, Skrilla had found himself collaborating with all corners of the city, including Lil Uzi Vert. He would even work on tracks that seemed to intentionally blur the lines between friend or foe, featuring on tracks with YBC Doll's ops like Lil Bucks and Poundside Pop, with their ironically titled song Hood Hopper. But his appearance in a controversial and disrespectful collab with YBC Doll, titled McButtons and McNuggets Part 2, led many people to believe that Skrilla had ultimately sided with the YBC gang, considering that this was a song disrespecting a dead rival of YBC. Skrilla's willingness to navigate Philly's treacherous rap politics made him both respected and feared, and it wasn't long until the streets started to take notice. But anyway, those are the key figures, and now you know the complicated background to Philly's rap music history. In the next chapter, let's dive deeper into some of these gangs behind the music and the streets they control, to peel back the layers and understand why Philadelphia's drill scene has become a powder keg ready to explode. So let's take a closer look at the modern day gangs inspiring the murder music in Philadelphia, most specifically one of the most deadly groups, YBC, the Young Bag Chasers.
That shit too close to home. He gonna start getting niggas I know indictments. I pray to God he never coming back.
Have been dangerous for decades, and despite the many gangs of Italian American and African American,
y'all think I'm joking with y'all, bro? I'm really gonna get scared if Trap Lil Ross start covering Bud. Well, I'm damn. They just hit my cousin with 50 years. Where does indictment come from? Oh, check the paperwork. Trap Lil Ross and said the nigga had 12 bodies. The feds went and investigated. Oh, damn. I'm about to start losing uncles, cousins, aunts. Nah, I pray this nigga never hit Baltimore real life.
that have operated in the city over the last 100 years. In today's day and age, it's the younger, smaller sets of African-American gangs with an interest in rap and drill music.
Because imagine you from Philly and you just watching this shit like, yo, that's my cousin. You saying this nigga whack, nigga? Bro, chill.
Philadelphia's gang strongholds, people share fan-made gang maps which identify all of the blocks and gangs and their respective turf in Philadelphia. And these are updated constantly, showing countless gangs to be aware of in Philly's treacherous streets. And in terms of today's story, there's really one gang that stands out.
That's just what we know.
Not only being one of the most dangerous, but also the most disrespectful. This is a crew known in the streets as YBC. YBC is a Philly street gang with the letters YBC standing for Young Bag Chasers, or Youngers Bout Chicken. J100 was a founding member and rapper from the crew, and YBC Dull, aka Mr. Disrespectful, would wind up being one of the most prominent members in recent years, particularly as a result of
bunch of young niggas in Philly too. Y'all peeping that? There's no OGs we've
Other
seen so
prominent
far.
YBC members include Fat Seam, Eam Stacks, Mir Pablo, FS Debender,
It's a bunch of young niggas. They said the young nigga created the game.
1K, Baby Wick, Yak Yola, Money Making T.O., Baby Car, Kerr, Peso, and Lil Moo. The YBC turf is 42nd, 43rd, and 39th Streets, with their area sometimes being referred to as Josh World in memory of YBC Josh, one of the earliest members to lose their life to the gang war. At some point, YBC expanded and formed an alliance with a North Philly crew notorious for shootings called YFA. In the now infamous Brandon Buckingham interview, YBC Dull explained how YFA is actually the younger generation of the YBC gang.
Would you say that YBC is from West Philly?
Yeah, YBC is the bottom. We got a couple that's like from North and shit. Majority, like YBC originated from West, and everybody in YBC, like we somebody like Big Brother or something that's in like YFA. Like it's two groups, it's YBC and YFA. That's the younger version of it.
Interestingly, one of Philly's most famous singers in the modern era was PNB Rock, and his PNB gang hail from a nearby block and is affiliated with the YBC and YFA crews. YBC Dull would even take Brandon Buckingham to tour PNB Rock's block, showing you just how comfortable YBC Dull felt there.
Past 30th Street right now. We on past 30th and Baton. We in PNB. This PNB Rock block though. Like this where PNB Rock from. Like
Hop Out Blick is another famous member affiliated with PNB who made numerous songs with YBC Dull. Now Hop Out Blick is currently incarcerated for double murder after 3 young men lost their lives in a robbery turned shootout, with this murder receiving a bunch of media attention due to the young age of the boys involved. But after the murders, Hop Out Blick would drop songs seemingly mentioning the tragic events, with many people reporting that he was self-snitching in these songs and that it might be the very reason he got locked up. This younger generation of PNB members sometimes refer to themselves as
I
the
think he
Torches,
self-snitched and got
they're
his ass,
infamous for
right?
being incredibly dangerous in the streets as allies of YBC. Now eventually, YBC began to beef with a group of gangs in their neighborhood, with several of these smaller gangs clicking up to defend against YBC. CCK was a collective of gangs that would form against YBC after years of violence and disrespect. This collective was made up of 3 groups: the Campers, the Clappers, and the Clappers with a K. The first C in CCK standing for the Campers, who are based on O to the 4. The second C is for the Clappers, based on 56th Street, and the K, standing for Clappers starting with a K, hail from 7th Street. The Campers, or O to the 4, takes the O from 60th Street and 4 from 64th Street, as Lil Mur from O to the 4 broke down in an interview with Philly Fame.
Where you from, 64th Street, y'all call that O to the 4. I mean, explain that for the people who ain't...
It's 60th and Lansdowne, and 64th and Cop.
Alright, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Mob ties for real. We all grew up together, you dig me? That's all.
Now, one of the most notable members of CCK is Lil Bucks, a rapper from the gang who has multiple songs on YouTube that have millions of streams. A few other prominent members of CCK include HL Osama, Sid aka Fro, Buka, and a plethora of other members who we might touch on in this video. But a number of other crews would also click up with CCK to beef against YBC. For instance, the 39th Street clicked up with 44th Street aka
You don't know what we finna talk about, chat. We might touch on these niggas in the video. I don't know, y'all might gotta wait for part 2.
YBC Dull would also beef with a few other sets from around his turf, with 59th Street and 62nd Street also being ops of YBC Dull and his set. This means YBC is surrounded by ops on almost every side, and interestingly, the music made by members of all of these gangs would be a major catalyst in the violence going on their blocks. But anyway, YBC members would actually begin making music a number of years ago, with one of its founding members, J100, being one of the first people to start making music all the way back in 2017. One of his first songs, Know How We Comin', featured Lil Car, where the 2 teenagers flex that the ops know how they are coming and that they should be afraid of the violent tendencies of YBC members. A month later, he dropped the track Trenches with 2K Rico, and less than a year after that, J100 would drop a remix of Takeshi 6ix9ine's song Kuda featuring YBC Hemo, which shows Jay rapping in 6ix9ine's flow, albeit much more believably whilst rapping about the violence going on around him. Another song he did around this time was a feature for YBC Hemo, their song called The Life, a song that's all about the life of these 2 teenage boys from West Philadelphia trying to grind their way out of the violent neighborhood they were born into. Around 3 months later, Jay would drop another song titled Blackin' Out, and J100 would have been at the oldest around 16 years old when recording these songs, but by that age, him and his friends were already rapping about the dark life they were living, discussing incarceration, and even their dead friends. But over on the other side of the fence, CCK also had members who were dropping music around this time too, Lil Bucks, who would shake up the streets when he dropped the song We Spinnin' featuring One Mir, with the song being an anthem where the 15-year-old Lil Bucks would rap about being a boss who is feared and not to be played with, while Mir uses his verse to rap about the guns that he constantly uses on his ops. Coincidentally though, the music video of this song was released only 1 day before a pivotal death in the YBC camp, a murder that would unfortunately escalate the war in the streets of Philly to new heights and start a chain reaction that would ultimately lead to countless deaths of young men all across Philadelphia.
It's like, yo, once the first body drop, bro, it's just a domino, you know, shit titter-tatter back and forth. Who next? For real. RP to whoever about to lose their life right here, though. Damn,
throughout 2017, 18, and 19, YBC members were making a name for themselves as rappers as well as gangsters, with the likes of J100 dropping songs like Pushin' the Gas with Satcho, or the song Portland with YBC Hemo and Lil Dre, and one time with Lil Dre where they dissed O to the 4. But it would be the middle of 2019 when YBC would suffer their first major loss, which massively escalated the gang war in their neighborhood. On the 29th of May 2019, an 18-year-old
Man, hold on, we ain't gonna let that go by, man.
Where they dissed O to the 4.
First of all, RP on the 4, know we spending it. RP on the 4, know that we spending it. Fuck the 4. That's crazy. But why this nigga got a song called Portland, man? Fuck Portland for life, man. FPF for real shit, man.
With YBC Hemo of May 2019, an 18-year-old Joshua David
FPF4L,
best
man.
known by his friends as YBC
life,
Josh or Baby YBC, will be outside in YBC's
not they Portland, though. I don't know what they were Portland talking about, but just fuck Portland for the Trailblazers.
An unknown man would park his car near the Wyoming Avenue and quickly approach Josh on foot, opening fire, hitting him multiple times before running back to his car and fleeing westbound. As the police would arrive at the scene, they would find Josh in critical condition and take him to the nearby Presbyterian Hospital, but unfortunately, 2 days later, on the 1st of May, Josh would pass away from his injuries. At the time, Josh's murder would seemingly receive very little coverage from the local media, but in 2021, his case will be picked up by the local 6 ABC television station for their series covering cold cases.
It's been 2 years since a teenager was gunned down on a sidewalk in Philadelphia's Parkside section. Now law enforcement hopes a big reward will urge someone to come forward to solve this case.
On Wednesday, May 29th, 2019, Joshua David Munson was along the 4200 block of Wyalusing Avenue in Philadelphia's Parkside section. At 1:40 p.m., police were called to the area for a person with a gun.
Upon arrival, police observed the victim, who was later ID'd as Joshua Munson. He was suffering from multiple gunshot wounds and was taken to Presbyterian Hospital, where he was listed in critical condition.
Unfortunately, the 18-year-old died from his injuries on May 31st. Police have released some details on the suspect and the suspect's vehicle. At the time of the shooting, police say a black male between 24 and 25 years old, wearing blue shorts and a white tank top, parked a gold Dodge Ram pickup
nigga caught a hat
Street
in
Mantua
some
Avenue,
jeans
just around
and
the
a
corner from
fucking
Munson.
tank top. And
Police say
jeans
the
and
man
white beaters, not a
exited the
hoodie,
truck
not a
and
mask,
jogged
not.
to Wyalusing
It's some
Avenue.
jeans and white
They say
beater.
the man then ran back to the truck immediately following the shooting and drove westbound
He getting it different,
on
folks.
Mantua Avenue.
The city of Philadelphia
getting it different.
is offering a $20,000 reward for any information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the person.
All you have to do is call the Citizens Crime Commission tip line at 215-546-TIPS. All calls will remain anonymous.
The motive was unknown. There was nothing taken that we were aware of, and it's just another senseless killing of a teenager.
In his 2024 vlog with the YouTuber Brandon Buckingham, YBC Door would reflect on losing Josh while stood outside of his house.
I got a video with Josh right now. He said, when you come to my crib, throw some rocks at my back window. Like, that's our first loss. That's our first YBC loss. Oh, he pissing right here, but look, right here.
Oh, he pissing right here.
It's Josh crib right here.
He passed?
Yeah, he passed away. I got him tatted on my face. Right here. For Josh, too. Like, all my homies booked, bro. Don't you know I just was telling you about Josh, right? I was right here tagging up. Josh was supposed to come meet me. No, I was taking a weed. I was supposed to go meet him at the corner of the block. All I heard is gunshots. Boom, 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 boom.
I'm hearing gunshots right now.
Bro, that's good, but all I'm hearing is gunshots. Boom,
That
boom,
shit
boom.
will.
Bro, my man, band up y'all's coming around the corner. He said, bro, Josh, bro. I just broke down crying. I'm like, damn, bro.
Sorry to hear that. Rest in peace.
Our ops block right here, bro.
It was the death of Josh that took things to a
Our
whole new
house
level
block
on the streets
right
for YBC
here,
members.
bro.
In
Niggas
fact,
start
people
walking
on
to
Reddit
the
have later
block
described
with
Josh as
Brandon
being like the
Bucket.
O.D. Perry of YBC. O.D. Perry being the young man who the infamous O Block in Chicago, real name Parkway Gardens, is named after, with his death taking place all the way back in 2011. This comparison likely meaning that just like the death of O.D. had been pivotal to many of the youngsters from Parkway due to O.D. being such a loved member, and that this being one of the first major losses to really hit home for many of them. Similarly, for the youngsters in YBC, the loss of Josh likely meant the beginning of a new, much darker era defined by the need for revenge. And just like how the death of O.D. Perry would escalate the existing gang war and start a new string of back and forth killings on the south side of Chicago, the death of Josh would lead to a seemingly endless cycle of violence in West Philly
I ain't
and
gonna
beyond.
lie,
In the
bro.
months that followed,
RIP to the first one lost. It's always the first one lost that started war, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, it's fucked up when you hear me say Star War, because it bring back, like, bro, these niggas is already killing each other. It's already beef going on. How it's not a war right there, bro? But I'm not gonna lie, when somebody lost and niggas really rap behind that and was a valuable loss, bro, it do hit different. Like RIP, every loss ain't the same loss. Like, every loss hurt, bro, but it's just certain niggas in the hood that just touched everybody different. Pause. That just, like, dapped up or was cool with, or, you know what I'm saying, was really thorough with everybody in the hood, and everybody in the hood ready rap behind that. It's like you may have a nigga in the hood or a nigga that's part of the gang, and he was cool with Jake and Mark and Danny. So Jake and Mark and Danny is the only niggas really rapping for him and sliding for him when he died and going back to back and, like, going crazy for him when he died. But then you got a nigga who was cool with Mark, Danny, Jason, Khalif, Mir. Like, you feel me? I'm gonna use Philly names in this motherfucker. But, you know, like, a nigga that was cool with everybody. A nigga that was real cool with everybody. And when that nigga died, that's the start of the war. I ain't gonna lie to you. When a nigga that's valuable like that die, it go from niggas just beefing, cause when RP Josh, when Josh died, niggas was probably just beefing. Like, YBC and they ops, it was probably just beefing when bro died. But from what it sounded like, when Josh died, that's when the war started. You get what I'm saying? And it's a slight difference from war and
YBC
beef.
members would stay heavily active in music. J100 continued dropping songs like Turn Up Part 2, Steppers, and 1:30, and Reek 1200 dropped the Pain song His Story, followed by the melodic track Mobbin'. The young YBC members still had a lot of potential in music, but the pull of the streets would be strong too, and members would be looking to avenge YBC Josh. 10 months after the death of Josh, on the 2nd of March 2020, a 19-year-old Nifeek Hawkins, known in the streets as Bud or Buddy, was playing basketball at the playground on 39th and Olive, located in the Mantua neighborhood, not far from where Josh had lost his life. However, Buddy was seemingly not from the area, but rather from the neighborhood who set claims the 62nd and Callow Hill. But anyway, while on the busy court playing a pickup game with other people, someone would suddenly approach Buddy, shooting him numerous times in the torso and legs. Buddy too would be transported to the nearby Presbyterian hospital.
How you walk up to a nigga, hit his ass in the torso and legs? Boy, you ain't no killer.
People, nobody would provide any description of the shooter
you
or
are
shooters.
That bitch shooting knees and
shot and killed on a basketball court in Mantua this evening. The shooting happened on the 3900 block of Olive Street around 5 o'clock. Police say the victim was shot multiple times. At this point, police have
How you
not
woke up
discovered
on a
motive,
nigga for leg
and
shots?
no one is
Y'all
been
niggas.
arrested.
Learning new information about a deadly shooting on a basketball court in Philadelphia's Mantua section. It happened just after 5 yesterday afternoon on the 3900 block of Olive Street. The 19-year-old victim was pronounced dead a short time later. Investigators now say the victim was shot several times and was indeed the intended target. Witnesses say a game was going on at the time, but it's unclear if the victim was playing or watching. There were 30 people clustered around the victim when officers arrived at the court. Still, so far, there's no description of a shooter or shooters.
Once again, the murder of Buddy would receive limited
R.I.P.
coverage from
Buddy,
the local
man.
press beyond these initial reports, although his name would be included in the long list of gun violence victims that the local newspapers would report on during the summer of 2020. But as Philadelphia was beginning to experience a wave of gun-related killings not seen in generations, much like many other major cities in America, however, it does seem that there were eventually people charged for this murder, although unsurprisingly, the Philly news media would fail to report on it. According to online rumors, 2 people would allegedly be charged for the murder, one of them known in the streets as YBC Von. And then, in 2022, a rapper called Tay Savage 215 from the 62nd and Callow Hill set, also known as Hoopers or Blow for Bud in honor of Buddy, would post an Instagram story of members from his set allegedly catching Von in prison and beating him up. Him up, would post an Instagram story.
Y'all think I can find this video real quick? Hold up. I just saw the video, y'all. It wasn't, I don't even, I can show it for the video. It's kind of boring. They basically just jumped and stomped the shit out of the nigga, which is what y'all supposed to do. If y'all catch y'all homie killer, the least y'all could do is stomp the shit out of him. Niggas calling it weak because it was a jumping. They killed they mans. He killed they mans. I'm not gonna lie to you. That nigga supposed to get overstomped. Straight 990s. I ain't gonna lie to you. Nigga supposed to straight catch straight 990s to the face. I'm not gonna lie to you. That nigga supposed to catch newbies to the facial. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's all that's supposed to happen in that situation. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But, members from his set allegedly catching Von in prison and beating him up.
Guys, man. Hopping on the clap, on feet. Man, we still beat.
In 2024, during their vlog with the British YouTuber Khadija, a rapper called Remu from the Hoopers would pay tribute to their fallen friends, including Buddy or Bud.
What's a hooper?
What's a hooper? I lost my homie. I lost my homie Ja. You feel me? Long live Ja and all that. Feel me? All the bros, we all like. We lost Ja. His name was Ja the Hooper though. Like, feel me? And we just be hooping for Ja. Like, you could apply hooping. We apply hooping to everything we do. Like, you get in the studio, you working. That's like putting up shots in practice. You feel me? Like performing all that. That's like the game. Like, we do a lot of we just hoop. Like, so we the hoopers. Like, and it mean a lot to us. You feel me? Cause it's really for our homie. Like, me personally. You feel me? It's really for my homie. So doing this, we lost homies to the system. We lost homies to gun violence. Long live Ja. Long live crazy.
What the fuck, y'all?
We lost it for our homie, like me personally, you feel me? It's really for my homie. So doing this, we lost homies to the system. We drive, feel me? We lost a lot of homies. Long live Crazy Will, long live Steve Drive. feel me? We lost a lot of homies. You feel me? The Bruise got Long Live Bug. You feel me? It's a lot of homies.
Rich homie Quan, you know what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, also in 2024,
Like I said,
during his
Rich
vlog
Homie
with
Quan.
Brandon Buckingham, YBC Dull would visit the basketball court where this happened and say that the last time he was there was when Bud
Jeans
died,
was
before
fucking
laughing
tight
hysterically,
as
as well as
shit.
saying that this was J100's block.
Wanna know the last time I've been in this park? Well, Bud died. Bro, we ain't come to this park ever since then, bro. No, bro, that was my right hand man, bro. This J100 block right here, like this, where J100 to be at right now. This J100 block. Put your burn up. Put that burn up, bro.
A few months after the murder of Buddy, J100 continued dropping music, like the tracks What I Do and Havoc in July, and after that, he dropped a song titled Stand on Business, where Jay rapped about his gang spinning blocks on their ops and putting in work, as well as ending the song with a tribute to Josh.
Free 9. Long live Josh.
But interestingly, he wouldn't diss Buddy by name, as it would be a few years before YBC rappers would begin openly dissing Buddy in their music. Buddy would go on to be a name that would be heavily disrespected by members of YBC who rapped, but then of course, nobody would go harder than Mr. Disrespectful himself, who would frequently say in his music that he's smoking Buddy, or pointing out that he got shot 16 times in the park. Clearly, after the murder of their
What'd he
beloved
say?
friend YB smoking Buddy, or pointing out
I Peter Buddy, y'all. No disrespect, I'm just reading the list. I was smoking Buddy out the pack. Buddy caught 16 inside the park. They white chalked him. Damn.
got shot 16 times in the park. Clearly, after the murder of their beloved friend YBC Josh, the murder of Buddy meant a lot to the surviving YBC members. But naturally, Buddy's friends and affiliates would be equally devastated, looking to get revenge of their own. Particularly, a young man by the name of Sidney Sessoms, aka Sid or Fro, who would later be described as a major problem in the streets for YBC. Sid came from 39th Street and was seemingly a fearless shooter when it came to the beef with YBC, with rumours circulating on Reddit that he was responsible for the murders and shootings of numerous rivals. Apparently, following the murder of Buddy, there were numerous shootouts that Sid got involved in, including a rumoured shootout near 38th Street close to where Sid lived, where he was hit but survived, which could well be this mass shooting reported on 38th and Poplar in August 2020, where two of the surviving victims will be 18-year-old males, this age possibly matching that of Sid at the time. A few months after Buddy's murder, another person was shot and killed, a man named Brashawn Hall, aka BL. According to CBS News Philadelphia, at 9:30 p.m. on September the 28th, 2020, a 21-year-old was shot multiple times in the head and pronounced dead at the scene on the 900 block of Belmont Avenue, with the police and news attending the scene to record a report.
Tonight, Philadelphia police say a 21-year-old man was shot and killed execution style in Belmont. It happened at Belmont and Westminster Avenues around 9:30. Investigators say the gunman fired 15 shots at the victim near his house. They are looking for a tan car seen speeding away from that area. So far, no arrests or motive in this case.
A few weeks later, BL would have his funeral, which would be live streamed on Facebook for friends and family. BL was from 43rd and believed to be a casualty to Sid's set from 39th. As a result, members from 39th, like Sid, became even bigger targets of their various surrounding rivals. In one of the most senseless killings in this story, a few months later when Sid had been sent to jail for an unknown charge, false information would circulate that Sid would be getting released on March 18th, 2021, with shooters sliding to the jail and killing a man named Rodney Hargrove by mistake, thinking it was Sid.
He didn't deserve this. Not even close.
Rodney Hargrove Sr. says the pain and heartbreak of his son's murder, Rodney Hargrove Jr., won't go away. March 18th, Hargrove was shot and killed outside the Curran Firmhold Correctional Facility.
I didn't understand. And he telling me my baby was gone.
Hargrove took this video just moments after his release. Tragically, he was shot and killed just an hour after being let out of the correctional facility. His family has now filed a wrongful death and civil rights lawsuit. After his early morning release around 1 a.m., the prison transported Hargrove across the street to a bus stop. While waiting on a ride, Hargrove ran back onto prison grounds because he was being chased by a car. It's not clear why, but investigators say there was no guard at the gate and the car followed Hargrove. He was shot and killed just feet from a raised gate. The shooter was identified as Amin Hurst.
Despite the fact that the man killed was innocent and simply mistaken for Sidney, this didn't stop YBC rappers like Dull making fun of this innocent man's murder. Dull would rap on his track Free F5 that he thought he was smoking on Sid, but the whole time he was smoking on Rodney, and that they kill anyone they catch on their ops block, regardless of who it is. The shooter responsible, Amin Hurst.
What the fuck? This nigga was too disrespectful. Nigga said thought this was Sad Pack whole time smoking Rodney. What the
and that they kill
fuck?
anyone they catch on their ops block, regardless of who it is, the shooter responsible. Amin Hurst would turn out to be an incredibly deadly factor in the streets, responsible for numerous murders, but we'll be covering his story in more detail later. But even after murdering an innocent man in a case of mistaken identity, YBC shooters were not done, and they would continue their relentless campaign to try and get Sid. Things would escalate again in May 2021 after Sid was released from jail when he was allegedly caught outside his home and shot at by the ops, with this incident taking a tragic turn as the bullets didn't strike their intended target, but instead wounded Sid's 6-year-old sister who had been playing outside at the time.
A 6-year-old girl has been shot in a drive-by shooting in the 3800 block of Wyalusing Avenue.
Now, police say it was about 3:40 this afternoon in the 3800 block of
R.I.P.
Wyalusing
that
in the
6-year-old
Mantua
girl.
section. The little girl was playing outside. Suddenly, a group of young men came running towards her, apparently being followed by men in a dark-colored sedan. Shots rang out, striking parked cars and homes, and as it turns out, the 6-year-old girl. She ran to her parents, who were sitting in their car, and told them that she had been shot in the leg. She was then taken to Children's Hospital for treatment. Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw rushed to the scene when she heard
she ain't
a
dead?
6-year-old had been shot. Here's what she
Oh,
had to
thank
say.
God she ain't dead.
It's disgusting yet again that I'm here speaking to you about a 6-year-old getting shot, but what's also very striking to me is that the 6-year-old had the wherewithal to tell her parents that she had been shot. How does a 6-year-old know what getting shot is like? How does a 6-year-old
For
know
real.
what bullets sound like or what, gunfire sounds like? And how does she know, or how does he or she know what a bullet wound looks like? That is what's so heart-wrenching for me.
Police say the area
For
is
real.
well known to them, the scene of several recent shootings between apparently rival gangs.
Less than 24 hours after being shot in the leg, a very brave 6-year-old girl limped to her home on Wyalusing Street Tuesday afternoon. Her parents, asking not to be identified, tell Fox 29, thankfully she's going to be okay.
As long as she's okay, I'm okay. So that's all that matters to me.
Police say the first grader was an innocent bystander simply riding her bike outside her home Monday just after 3 when gunshots rang out. She was shot once and raced to the hospital. The girl's dad says it's time to move.
I'm just thanking God she's still here with us.
It's a shame our children know about
Damn, bro.
gunshots
That's a
and everything.
6-year-old
Police have
kid.
recovered surveillance video of the vehicle used in this drive-by shooting. They continue to say at this point that this looks like it's connected to some other shootings in the area, that it's a back and forth between two groups. They're tracking some leads and hope to make an arrest.
Sid and his sister would survive this incident, and the family would ultimately move across town to Port Richmond, also known as Little Poland due to the neighborhood's large Polish community. But unfortunately, even moving away from the immediate surroundings of the escalating gang war couldn't save Sid, and eventually he would get caught by his ops, who worked out where he was living. But even more unfortunate is the fact that he was allegedly on house arrest during this time. Therefore, once his enemies had his address, it was as simple as going to his home and getting the job done. Some rumors have circulated that Sid's killers actually knew that he was at home because he was online playing video games, meaning he must have been inside the house, with
Damn.
disrespectful lyrics from YBC Doll coming out years later suggesting that Sid was playing a game when he was killed. It would
This nigga's so disrespectful. They dropping back to back on that side. Them niggas feel out pain. Everybody knows. Sydney got. My bad, yo. They dropping back to back on that side. Them niggas feel out pain. Everybody knows. Sydney got fried on his couch playing the game. Too disrespectful.
It would all come to an end on
McNuggets,
September
that's
the
a song with
16th,
Kwani, ain't it?
2021,
Or
when
Skrilla.
two
My
YBC
fault,
shooters travelled to Sid's home on 2900 block of Wakel Street in Port Richmond and opening fire. According to the DA's office, two shooters would arrive at the door, opening fire, and then chasing 19-year-old Sydney into his home, shooting him as well as his father, who fortunately ended up surviving the attack that would end up taking Sydney's life. The shooting would have an element of overkill, or as Philly rappers would say, Sydney was overcooked. Besides the DA's office stating that Sydney was shot in the chest, at least one news report would claim that Sydney was actually shot in the nose, with rumours circulating online that he was shot so badly in the face that his nose was gone. And YBC Doll would later rap about the incident on his song Dynamic Duo, referring
Bro, what's September 16th? That's Fro Day. He tried to get off the couch. That switch grabbed his face. That switch did what? Nigga is over trolling. Nigga said the switch said, Oh, got your nose. Like, nah, these niggas is over
to the
true.
exact date of the murder and saying that Sydney, aka Fro, had been killed with a switch on his couch, the hail of bullets literally destroying his face. However, many news reports seem to indicate that Sydney was in fact killed in the doorway of his home. Sydney's brother Samuel, or Sam Sessoms Jr., is actually a talented basketball player who played for several different college teams, including Binghamton Bearcats, Penn State Nittany Lions, and Coppin State Eagles, and he now plays abroad for French basketball team Stade Rochelis in the city of La Rochelle. A lengthy post was made in 2021 profiling him and his journey to stay out of the streets, explaining how good students and talented athletes are usually off limits when it comes to gangsters. And he would even appear alongside his father in an interview about his basketball career, where his father would get emotional about his efforts to give his sons a better life.
I'm about to get emotional. Like, he's a great kid. Like, I say this all the time. When you have a son or a daughter, you want them and you give them your namesake. They probably don't even know it, but you put them at a level. And he done surpassed it. He done surpassed it. Like, if God took me today, I'm happy. And I mean that. I mean that.
I grew up on loyalty. Where we from, like a lot of places, like where I'm from really built me. You know, but I guess it's been times.
What
like,
block?
I'm from 39th and Walloosa, 39th Street. But it's all
at the bottom.
Yeah, it's the bottom. That's the heart of the bottom.
Yeah, it's the bottom.
That's the heart of the bottom.
However, he has at times taken to social media to warn people about dissing his brother. The shooter of Sid was a prominent member of YBC-affiliated YFA set named Arshad Curry, also known as Currio or Most Wanted, a name reflecting his wild reputation in the streets. To make things even more crazy, after the murder of Sid and escaping the home, in the course of taking the police on a chase, he would open fire on officers that were responding to the shooting, but fortunately he didn't injure them, allegedly firing 6 shots at 2 to 3 uniformed police officers who chose not to return fire for the safety of civilians, instead taking chase. Curry then fled the scene and tried to hide under a car, where he was found and arrested, with the news soon reporting on this wild night of violence soon after it happened.
We begin tonight with a deadly ambush in Port Richmond. A gunman shot and killed a 19-year-old man and wounded a 49-year-old believed to be the teenager's father. The gunman fired through the screen door of their home on the 2900 block of Weichel Street. Police say the gunman also fired at police officers as they pursued him down the street. They arrested the gunman on Monmouth Street. No officers were hit by the gunfire. The surviving victim is in stable condition.
One of the latest incidents of gun violence in Philadelphia has torn a family apart and put police in harm's way. Police were going after a suspect in a double shooting that killed a 19-year-old man when they came under fire themselves. Two gunmen walked up to a front porch on the 2900 block of Weichel Street in the Port Richmond section last night.
Oh, they about to get they get back in court.
Through a screen door.
Them niggas ain't shoot back and kill you. Oh, they about to kill you in court.
A 49-year-old man believed to be his father. Police arrived on the scene quickly and were alerted to an area where people said a suspect had fled. That's when they themselves faced that gunfire.
So we believe that our suspect fired at least 6 shots at 2 or 3 full uniform police officers. They are very, very lucky they didn't get hit. They didn't even return fire because there were a lot of people out on the streets, but they did chase this individual.
Police officers found the suspect hiding under a vehicle with a handgun and placed him in custody. There's no word on the whereabouts of the second suspect.
Philadelphia police are looking for a second gunman in a shooting that killed a teenager and wounded his father. The 19-year-old and his 49-year-old father were shot inside a home on Weichel Street in Port Richmond just after 8 o'clock. The son died at the hospital. His father is in critical but stable condition. Police say while they were at this scene, someone fired shots at them. Officers did not return fire and weren't injured. Police later arrested the suspected shooter.
As the killer of Fro, aka Sid, Curry would be a popular topic of discussion amongst Philly drill fans, and after his arrest, people would post details about his case, labeling him a crash out. People would also post Fro on Reddit saying how he was YBC's biggest problem, and the fact that Curry had taken him out was massive news. But Curry had been incredibly sloppy, and even shooting at the police when trying to escape meant that he was definitely cooked when it came to trial. Apparently, the prosecution found the murder weapon, as well as Curry's phone, which contained evidence tying him to the case, giving prosecutors basically everything they needed to put him away. His defense would try to argue that he was a victim of his his surroundings, but this ultimately didn't have any pull with the court, and Curry was ultimately sentenced to 42.5 to 85 years of state incarceration, not just for the murder of Sydney, but also for 2 other alleged murders, which we'll be discussing later in this story. Ultimately though, the murder of YBC Josh was a major catalyst in escalating the war amongst members of YBC and their opposing gangs, and while for a period of time, Sydney from 39th Street was allegedly a formidable force against YBC, his brazen murder in his own home showed that YBC members were willing to crash out completely to defend their gang, and ultimately, this sequence of events meant that both Sydney and Curry, 2 of the deadliest shooters from their respective blocks, were now off the streets for good. 2020 had been a bad year for Philly, but unfortunately, 2021 would turn out to be even worse. The yearly homicide rate pushing past even the numbers at the height of the crack epidemic in the early 90s. But unfortunately, for the streets of Philly, Curry was by no means the only deadly member of YBC, and soon after, another young man would emerge, proving himself to be even more deadly than those that came before him, a teenage shooter allegedly responsible for the killing of the innocent man Rodney Hargrove, who YBC thought was Sydney outside the jail. It turned out he would actually take the lives of 3 other people before eventually being caught, and just like Curry, he wouldn't go down without a fight either. But in this case, rather than shooting at the police before he was caught, this teenage gangster, facing 4 bodies, would end up escaping jail before his trial, taking the Philadelphia police on a statewide manhunt that shocked and embarrassed the authorities in Philadelphia at every single level. While the murder of YBC Josh was a devastating loss to the members of YBC, their rivals would soon be suffering a loss of their own after the killing of a teenager by the name of Buddy. The war would continue to escalate into the end of 2020, while numerous shootouts were happening between YBC and their various rivals, including Sydney from 39th Street. Other young members of YBC would be seemingly lurking in the streets, desperate to catch more of their ops lacking, ultimately leading to more senseless murders of seemingly harmless people. The next tragedy would strike on Christmas Eve, when on December the 24th, 2020, police responded to the 1800 block of Wynwood Road after receiving a report of a person with a gun. They would attend the scene and find Daewoo Naishon Struggs, aka Woo Biddy, age 20, on the ground. He had been shot several times in the torso, and he would unfortunately be pronounced dead at 11:46 AM that day. He was actually an aspiring comedian, allegedly even filming a post for social media when he was killed, but some have suggested that actually he was killed after previously dissing his ops on social media, with prison YouTuber and snitch exposer 1090 Jake breaking down the case on his channel and showing the live that Scruggs was filming when he was shot.
He said, "These West dudes want to be my ops. Man, I only deal with Frankfurt shit. It don't involve me if it ain't Frankfurt."
When we shoot, you can't run when we shoot. I'ma smoke you. Real shit.
Damn. So obviously he has something going on in his own city and going on with West Philly, but still decided to walk through there. When a man seen on video walked up with a gun out. Skinny can be heard exchanging words with the shooter. It sounds as if he's speaking from behind a mask, but you can hear him say, "What's up?"
Philly niggas got the most chopped
and you can
facial
even
hair.
hear the shooter respond back saying, "Sup." Skinny quickly said, "We on live," and you can hear the panic in his voice as the shooter raised the gun.
What's up? Go ahead, bro. Bro, go ahead, I'm live.
6 shots can be heard on video while Skinny falls to the ground on the side of 1871 Winewood Road. Police found him lying in the grass, shot multiple times to the chest and head, and 15 minutes after the shooting, Skinny was pronounced dead at the hospital.
A heartbreaking news report on the crime would be broadcast following the incident.
Robbed of one of her greatest joys, Spring Scruggs keeps reliving the murder of her grandson on Christmas Eve.
And I lost my heart. That was my baby.
Daewoo Scruggs loved his family. His last Instagram post was of him and his dad, who died 3 years ago.
1, 2 o'clock.
Daewoo also loved to make people feel good.
Daewoo would like hype me up. Like I would be in my room, he would come in there, he would hype me up. He like says, "You look cute."
The 20-year-old was an aspiring comedian. Now, the gunman who killed him has brought heartbreak to his family.
But he always knew, like, he had enemies. Like, he always knew people didn't like him. He always knew. I never expected nobody to kill him.
Family members say Daewoo was walking to the bus stop to go to work at Home Depot. He got here to the intersection of Wynwood and Malvern. He was recording a video on social media. Then police say minutes later, an unknown man walked up to Daewoo and got into an argument with him. Seconds later, he pulled out a gun and shot Daewoo. It was all caught on video.
And ultimately, the suspect was caught on surveillance.
It was all caught on video.
And it wouldn't take long for the authorities to identify him as 16-year-old Amin Hurst.
A new surveillance video from Philadelphia police shows the moments which led to a Christmas Eve murder in Overbrook. The gunman, wearing a dark-colored puffy coat, following the victim, Daewoo Scruggs, along the 1800 block of Wynwood Road. as the two go off screen. You hear a barrage of gunshots, the suspect then running away. 20-year-old Daewoo, an aspiring comedian, left for dead. Police are offering a $20,000 reward for his death.
However, before the cops would catch their suspect, Hurst would continue to commit violence in his community. On March the 11th, 2021, at 3:04 p.m., police responded to a shooting on the 1400 block of North 76th Street. Before police got there, 4 people who had been shot made their way to a local hospital. Naquan Smith, 24, who was shot in the chest, arm and shoulder, was pronounced dead at 3:12 p.m. And Tamir Brown, aka Lil Mir from O to the 4, age 16, who had been shot several times, was pronounced dead at 7:48 p.m. 2 more shooting victims, both 19 years of age, were placed in critical condition, but ultimately survived.
It was around 3 o'clock this afternoon when police began getting calls about shots fired and people shot behind Woodcrest Garden condos at 1400 North 76th Street in Overbrook. Sky Fox broadens out the scene for us. Police at 2 different locations in the neighborhood, both littered with dozens of evidence markers. It's unclear exactly how many shots in all were fired or how many people were shooting. Police say a 24-year-old man shot died shortly after at the hospital. The others listed in extremely critical condition include men and teens ages 30, 19, and 16 years old.
Allegedly, this shooting that claimed 2 young lives was also carried out by Amin Hurst. Lil Mir from O to the 4 was actually a rising rapper, and fans on Reddit were shocked by the news of his passing. And he had songs with other well-known rappers from his area like Lil Bucks. Lil Mir had appeared in an interview the previous year where he spoke on West Philly streets being a war zone and being a member of O to the 4.
So, man. To the floor. So it's a lot going on in the city, you know, current times, you know, a lot of killing going on.
Bro, I don't know how to put it. If you know, you know. That shit been bad, you hear me? That shit been bad. If you know, you know. That shit been bad, though. Where's the all my know? Been bad. That's all I can say.
You a young artist coming up. I mean, you 16, I mean, so you real young, I mean, fresh in the game, I mean. So you say you from, you know, 64th Street, y'all call that O to the 4. I mean, explain that for the people who ain't.
It's 60th and Lansdowne, and 64th and College.
All right, okay, yeah, go ahead.
My child's for real. We all grew up together, you dig me? When we was young, it wasn't nothing like how it is now. Just know it's a war zone in the whole west side. That's all I'm gonna say is the war zone.
That's what I'm saying. This could be beefing, bro.
He would explain that life got rough for him after his mother died when he was in 2nd grade, and that he's been in the streets providing for himself ever since.
If it's love there, the war gonna start.
I wouldn't lie, like, it got rough as I got older. Like, when my mom died in 2012, I think I was in, like, 2nd grade or something. That's when it started getting rough, because she used to bust her ass for me, do whatever. And give me that shit. It just got bad when she left me and shit. That's all.
Clearly, he was himself deep involved in the gang war, ending that interview saying F the ops.
All right, man, is there anything else you want to let the people know? Anything else you want to clarify, address, you know what I mean, before we get up out of here?
We not gonna say no names, man. Free the Free Ghost, free DK, free Sama.
So after this tragic double murder, Amin Hurst was building a formidable reputation in the streets, having killed 3 people in less than a year, but it wouldn't be long until he claimed another life. As I mentioned previously, one of YBC's most dangerous enemies was a 39th Street shooter by the name of Sid. Members from YBC would receive false info that Sid was getting out of prison on March the 18th, 2021, and a man named Rodney Hargrove was killed within an hour of leaving the prison in a case of mistaken identity. After this, the police would finally catch up with Amin Hurst and unravel the details of his deadly crime spree. On March the 20th, 2021, Amin Hurst was arrested and charged as an adult with the murder of Daewoo Nashawn Scruggs that took place on Christmas Eve 2020. Then, on April the 21st, Hurst was re-arrested and charged in the double murder of both Naquan Smith and Tamir Brown. And then finally, he was charged with the final murder of Rodney Hargrove outside the prison on the 28th of April 2021.
Tonight, Philadelphia police say this 16-year-old is responsible for a months-long reign of gun violence which left 4 people dead, including a man who was a victim of mistaken identity. Investigators say Amin Hurst was the gunman who shot and killed a 20-year-old man on Christmas Eve. In March, they say he was responsible for killing 2 people
mistaken identity, and they caught the right nigga.
A week after that shooting,
he caught the B on the wrong nigga and caught the right
shot
nigga.
And killed Rodney Hargrove just after Hargrove was released from jail. Police say Hargrove was not the intended victim.
An NBC 10 Philadelphia news report would air identifying Amin Hurst and the 4 murders he had allegedly committed.
Police now say 16-year-old Amin Hurst was the one who pulled the trigger on that aspiring comedian. On March 20th,
damn, y'all ever just read the little the little messages at the bottom of the shit, bro? It said Bryce Harper hit in the face with 97 mile per hour fastball. God damn. I know that motherfucker felt like the switch grabbed his face, ain't it?
Was the one who pulled the trigger
that
on that
motherfucker
aspiring
felt like
comedian.
grabbed his face.
On March 20th, Hurst was arrested and charged in that murder. But in between Scruggs' murder and those charges, there was another shooting. That time, 4 people were shot in a car. 2 of them died. Last week, Hurst was charged with those murders, and while he was behind bars, police took a closer look at a gun connected to him. That's when they discovered that gun was connected to another unsolved murder that we told you about as breaking news right after it happened in March. A 20-year-old man who'd just been released from jail was gunned down on the grounds of the Curran-Fromhold Correctional Facility. Police say it appears as though that man was the tragic victim of mistaken identity. Now, Hurst, he may be a teenager, but it certainly did take some time for the authorities to track him down. The fugitive team, as well as the U.S. Marshals, they were searching for him. They say he was aware that they were looking for him, and he was going from place to place. He is now in custody and facing charges as an adult.
However, the police wouldn't easily take him off the streets, and in one of the wildest turn of events I've ever seen in a case so serious, Amin Hurst actually managed to escape jail and go on the run 2 years later. The 19-year-old convict executed a daring escape along with another convict named Nasir Grant. News reports would break down the facts, explaining that the combination of an unrepaired fence, switched off motion sensors, and a sleeping guard allowed Hurst and Grant to slip away undetected.
The DA showed video of Amin Hurst and Nasir Grant walking out of their cells at around 8:30 at night and then crawling on their bellies to a door to escape. Krasner says another inmate who was also out of his cell was their lookout. Krasner said it only took them 90 seconds to get out.
Damn,
he also revealed that a hole in the fence at the jail that the pair was able to sneak through had been there for about 7 weeks. Krasner says prison officials knew about the hole, looked at it days before the escape, but nothing was done. We have a crew going through more of Krasner's revelations, including why the counts of prisoners were the same after the escape and how officials really learned 2 inmates had made it out. That's coming up starting today at 4 o'clock.
According to later reporting, once the escapees got through the fence, they jumped in an Uber and headed to South Philly, apparently all with the help of a woman and fellow gang member who organized their transition into hiding. Following the escape, a manhunt was launched in an effort to capture the escaped convicts, with a reward being offered as reported on CBS News Philadelphia.
Developing this morning, an active manhunt for 2 inmates who escaped from the Philadelphia Industrial
Why would they go back to
Center.
fucking West Philly? Them boys supposed to go on a
pushes forward. Law enforcement
going
officials
on a little road trip
about how the pair were able to break out in the first place.
The first one is 18-year-old Amin Hurst. He has been charged with 4 separate murders, including one right here on State Road in Northeast Philadelphia back on in March of 2021. The other inmate is 24-year-old Nasir Grant, who has been charged with drug and gun offenses. Now, according to the Department of Prisons commissioner, these 2 inmates were housed in the same unit of the correctional center, but they were not cellmates. She says they were both accounted for at 8:30 on Sunday night, but then they missed each of the next 3 head counts, one at 11 o'clock on Sunday night, and then 2 more at 3 and 7 o'clock on Monday morning. She says it appears that they were both at the prison during those times, but she is wondering why they weren't listed as missing since they weren't present during those head counts. Mayor Jim Kenney calls it a major failure of our prison system.
The number one responsibility right now is to get these guys off the street. And any information that any folks can provide us, there's, I believe, a reward on each of them for $20,000 each. Information leading to their arrest. So that's job number 1. Job number 2 is to get the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections in here and assess the system. Clearly, the system's screwed up. And people didn't do what they're supposed to do. It's clear.
The escape was a scandal for the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center and led to a review of the facility by the Department of Corrections.
According to this report, the prison did submit a plan of action, and these observations were expected to be addressed. Repairs to the outside wall were scheduled for spring of this year. Now, the mayor said today that the prison is now under review by the State Department of Corrections.
Somebody conducted 3 bed checks that either can't count or could count and did something wrong.
Well, earlier this month, last week actually, the police said that the inmates were caught on video cutting a hole in the fence to make their break and were not noticed as missing until the next day. That's despite 3 head counts by prison staff.
In the time the fugitives were on the run, Philly residents were said to be living in fear, terrified of the prospect of a quadruple murderer walking amongst them.
Where we are is about 2 to 3 blocks from that prison where those inmates escaped. And if you look around me, I'm in a playground. Right next to me is a recreation center, and directly across the street are homes. We knocked on several of those doors stores, and neighbors say this whole situation is scary. In this Holmesburg neighborhood, residents have their eyes out for two wanted men. Have you seen these two faces?
I've seen them on the news, yes.
Get a good look.
The one guy looks real familiar.
He's referring to 18-year-old Amin Hurst, accused of 4 murders. The other is 24-year-old Nazir Grant, who was being held on drug and gun charges. Police say the 2 inmates escaped from the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center Sunday night. The prison
Why would you
is within
run if you
miles
was
of
just on
schools,
gun and drug charges?
playgrounds,
I'm
and
asking why would you
neighborhoods
escape
like
from prison?
these,
That's a dumbass question.
where
Never mind,
neighbors
y'all
we
ignore
spoke
me.
to say they're feeling a bit
was a
uneasy
dumbass
about
question.
what happened in their
But I'm
backyard.
saying you probably
What are
going
the
to get
police
caught
doing
for
about
trying to
it?
escape, and
What is,
that sentence that you
know,
want to do,
the mayor
boy.
doing about that?
They adding
'Cause
time to
people
that.
are at risk.
They adding
People are,
stupid
now
time
you're
to
talking
that.
about
They got 20K
potential
for your
violent
head,
people
boy. You was
being out
on
on the
gun and
street.
drug
It doesn't make me
charges.
feel comfortable, seeing
You wasn't
that
on no body.
someone can
This nigga was on
break out
4
of
bodies.
prison,
I get why he
especially
broke
when
out.
someone has murder charges and are really just a danger to society.
It is scary, but I feel like when they escape from the prison, I don't think they want to stay in the neighborhood.
Most tell us living so close to a prison has never been an issue until now.
Somebody dropped the ball.
For these neighbors, what happened is only adding another layer of concern for crime in Philadelphia.
Soon, District Attorney Larry Krasner
Hey,
would
no
comment
cap.
around...
Them niggas got nothing to fear for or be scared of. Them niggas is not crashing out on white people. Them young niggas is only shooting melanated brothers.
On the time of a hearing on the escape, warning about failings in the prison system. District Attorney Larry Krasner would comment around the time of a hearing on the escape, warning about failings in the prison system, with staff saying that they were suffering due to understaffing.
Staffing shortages, cameras that don't work, motion detectors that have been turned off, and a guard who is asleep. The DA says all of this aided in the escape of 2 dangerous men. Larry Krasner says he's not blaming anyone, as he pointed out. There were multiple failures, he says, that puts the city in danger.
Canada geese, in the absence of a dog, were landing in the dog run. And when they landed in the dog run, they were setting off the sensors. And when they were setting off the sensors, eventually someone decided to turn them off.
And while those sensors, the DA says, were not picking up movement, they were helpful, as the inmates used them to climb up over the fence.
After his escape, people on the Philly Wiki subreddit would speculate on what they would do if they were in Hurst's shoes. Some said he should go to Florida and flee for Cuba or another country with bad relations with the US, with people saying he's not making it out the country and that he should get off the grid. Others said that he has no escape and that US Marshals would find him on the moon. Some people pointed out that whoever helped him is in big trouble, while others said that he was probably just in one of his homies' basements and probably looking for the person that killed his sister in the parking lot last year. Unfortunately for Hurst, he didn't have the creativity that some of these Redditors did, and it turned out that he wasn't actually hiding far from where he came from. Just 10 days after his daring escape, he would be taken into custody by US Marshals in a standoff caught on camera and broadcast on Fox 29 Philadelphia. Following the arrest, NBC 10 Philadelphia would report on the capture, broadcasting the footage of Hurst getting in a car just before his arrest.
Pictures show U.S. Marshals officers taking Amin Hurst into custody early this morning, 10 days after the 18-year-old and another man escaped from a Philadelphia prison.
Nigga ain't even free.
Home security camera shows what appears to be Hurst walking near 61st and Washington Streets. This is in the Cobbs Creek section of West Philly. Robert Clark with the U.S. Marshal's Office says Hurst got into a vehicle along with 2 family members. As that vehicle pulled off, officers went after it. Both inmates now, Hurst and Nazir Grant, are back in custody after officials say they cut a hole through a fence at the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center and escaped.
I'll do all
it's
that
something
shit to be
that we take pride in, that in 10 days we were
weeks.
able to get 2 escapees in custody without any use of force.
Apparently, he was found at his aunt's house, with people in disbelief that he would decide to stay in Philly after his escape. His brother and 3 other people will be charged for assisting the escape, as reported on CBS News Philadelphia, which explained that someone from his own family actually called the police with a tip.
After 10 days on the run and a search that spanned 3 different states, tonight Amir Hurst is back behind bars.
The people here are saying, Cobbs Creek, how could this happen?
Wednesday night, community leaders went door to door talking to concerned Cobbs Creek residents after they learned 18-year-old Amin Hurst was arrested by U.S. Marshals near 61st Street and Washington Avenue, more than a week after escaping from a Philadelphia correction center. During a news conference, Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal Robert Clark says they got a break in the case when someone from Hurst's family called them Tuesday night.
We identified Hurst coming out of a house on the 6100 block of Washington Avenue and enter a vehicle with 2 family members. At that time, a vehicle containment was conducted as the vehicle tried to pull off the block, and Hurst was identified and taken into custody without incident.
Hurst's brother, Amir Woods, was also arrested on Wednesday for helping Hurst and 24-year-old Nasir Grant escape. Grant was recaptured in North Philadelphia last Thursday. 3 additional people have also been charged in aiding with the escape. Tonight, the investigation continues.
And Amin Hurst would now be facing escape charges on top of the original 4 murders, with phone calls organising the escape being recorded and played in court along with a video of the escape.
4 of the 6 people facing charges in connection with the Philadelphia prison escape appeared in court today. Amin Hurst and Nasir Grant escaped from the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center on May 7th of last year. 4 people, Michael Abrams, Ziani Stalling, Jose Flores Huerta, and Amir Woods, are facing charges for their alleged roles in the escape and the aftermath. The details of the case were laid out during today's hearing. The prosecution played 2 calls. They say Hurst made to Abrams and Stalling from prison right before he escaped. Hurst was being held on charges of murder. In the calls, Hurst tells them, quote, "I'm going to get the expletive out of here." The prosecution then showed video of the 2 men escaping the facility. Flores Huerta, a fellow prisoner, stood by and watched as they left their rooms, crawled through a common area, out the door, and then through a hole in a fence. Once out of the correctional center, surveillance video shows the 2 prisoners get into an Uber ordered by Stalling. The prosecution says cell phone data shows Stalling, Abrams, and Amir Woods, who was the older brother of Amin Hurst, knew about the escape and hindered the apprehension of both men. The prosecution says a motor vehicle search for Amir Woods' car shows he drove to New York the day after the escape. Officials previously said his younger brother made it to New York City and back to Philadelphia before he was recaptured.
Fuck with the nigga come back to Philly.
Huerta will be arraigned next month
made it
on
to a
charges
different
including
state and
escape
came back
and
to
conspiracy.
The woman who helped him organise the Uber would actually end up getting 11 to 23 months in prison for assisting the escape.
A woman has admitted to helping 2 inmates escape from a Philadelphia prison last year. Ziani Stallings was sentenced to 11.5 to 23 months in jail after pleading guilty yesterday. Prosecutors say Stallings helped Nasir Grant and Amin Hurst break out of the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center in May of 2023.
Ultimately, Amin Hurst is still awaiting trial for his 4 murder charges. And considering how brazen he'd been not only with the murders, but also the bold escape, it wouldn't surprise me if the judge really threw the book at him. But ultimately, even with one of the most prolific shooters off the streets, authorities were far from stopping the violence. And yet more murders would play out over the summer of 2021, with yet more YBC members being tied to the crimes.
Hey man, I'm gonna see y'all boys in the part 2, you feel me? I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here. Appreciate y'all for letting me have y'all time. I love y'all niggas, man. I'm gonna see y'all boys in the next motherfucking video, boy.